live from North Ipswich Reserve. We're with you for a fantastic round 10 clash between the Central Queensland Capras and the Luxury Paints Ipswich Jets. Great to have you with us on Phoenix Radio, phoenix.com.au. Smith somehow right down the eastern touchline, 12-4 the score. Well, the first attacking opportunity the Capras had.
Hello and welcome back for another edition of After the 80. I'm Ben Wilmott, and joining me as always on the panel is Anthony Bomber Breeze. Welcome back, Bomber.
No, it's good to be back. Semi-finals coming up in our local league as well as the Intrust and the NRL getting down towards that time. So it's a serious part of the season.
And plenty of celebrations from the IRL presentation night on the weekend as well.
Yes, we'll get into that a bit later on.
Excellent. Well, also joining us on the panel this week is the former Parramatta Eels and New Zealand Warriors prop, Mark Tookey. Welcome, Mark.
Thanks for having me. It's good.
Excellent. Well, great to have you on here, mate. And you've had quite a career in the NRL. Can you run us through some of your highlights, mate?
Yeah, probably the 2002 grand final,
Yep.
Warriors versus Roosters. Although we didn't get the result we wanted, but yeah, it was a great experience. And then winning a grand final, probably under 21's President's Cup when I debuted in 1996. That was another nice early highlight for me.
Excellent. What about your time at the Eels? I know Bomber's pretty excited to have you on board.
Yeah, I had 2 good years at the Eels. I was pretty lucky to go down there with all the Bulldogs boys, Jason Smith, Dimmick, Pay, McCracken.
Yep.
So yeah, I was pretty lucky to be in a pretty good side. We played in a couple of grand final qualifiers and got beaten by the Storm and Bulldogs. But yeah, had a lot of success down there under Brian Smith.
Yep. A little less action off the field during that season, those seasons for you.
Yeah, no video phones those days.
That always helps. Excellent. Well, great to have you on the desk, Mark. And also joining us on the panel today is Francis Renouf from the Swifts Bluebirds. He's the centre for the A-grade side who'll be playing in the finals this weekend. Good to have you on.
Thanks, Ben. Good to be here.
Excellent. Well, we're going to grill you about the finals later in the show, mate. Well, let's take a look at the round 24 of the Intrust Super Cup and another big weekend with some big scores. Firstly, the Mackay Cutters suffered an 18-point loss to South Logan Magpies, unfortunately ending the Ipswich Jets' chances at finals. And Mark, it seems the Magpies have come out swinging as the finals loom. Do you think they're a good chance of making the top 6 now?
Yeah, absolutely. They've got a pretty tough game this weekend against Burleigh, I think. So they need to win that one, or if they get beat by not too many points. So it's a bit touch and go for those guys. But yeah, they have got a bit of a roll on. I think a couple of the Broncos feeder players back there, Herman Assessier, has really been pretty good for these guys, and they're finding their feet at the right end of the season. So yeah, it should be good.
Unfortunately for the Jets as well, they've got Joe Offengowie jumping in and out of there as well, which I'm sure that Ben and Shane Walker would have loved to have had him this season, but he's definitely added some grunt to the Magpies pack this year. He's a big boy, and he'll be looking forward to some finals time. Now, Bomber, it looks like the Wooden Spoon's going to go to the Mackay Cutters after that same result as well. Are you surprised to see the Cutters on the bottom?
Well, obviously someone's got to be on the bottom there. Unfortunately, it's them. I'm sure they'll be disappointed with the season there, but they haven't lost too many games. It's heading towards the end of the season there, so Mad Monday's coming there. You can't make the finals, so the intensity drops off. I'm sure training's probably dropped off a bit, so I'm sure they're thinking of next year. So.
The minds are already on next season.
Unfortunately but unfortunately you've got to go out on the field because other teams are still trying to qualify and they need the points differential as well. So.
Yep. Well, a unfortunate loss for the Ipswich Jets on the a great win for the Ipswich Jets on the weekend. Actually, they got all 3 grades getting up with the Colts, the BRL side, and the Intrust Super Cup side, all getting the win over Tweed Heads. And Francis, were you impressed to see the Jets still pulling out a great performance, even though they know their season's pretty much over as well?
Yeah, mate. It's the old boys' day at the Jets on the weekend, and they haven't lost a game, and the old boys' day on too. So
it's an impressive statistic.
It is, mate. So
obviously,
always turn up.
Them.
Always turn up and play. Give the old boys something to celebrate.
Good-looking jerseys as well. It's the 10th of the season or something like that, but always looking good. But Tweed Heads, they've been playing well throughout the season as well. So it was a close win.
Yeah, it is, and it's always a hard-fought win with Tweed Heads. So it's really good to have, especially a comeback win as well when they were down.
Awesome. Well, the Northern Pride defeated the PNG Hunters 40-16 as well, and it sees the Pride move from 10th to 8th on the ladder. And Bomber, do you think it's going to be enough for them to make the finals?
I don't think so. If you look at the ladder now, I think the 6 spots either south or east to take. If if South win, they've got it there. And if South lose and East win, I think East will jump over the top on points differential. So, so really the Saturday night game where South play Burleigh, hopefully Burleigh don't try as hard, but unfortunately they're going to, as you can see by the ladder, the minor premierships up for grabs for them. So, so unfortunately for South, I think Burleigh are going to come out all fired up as well. So, so it's going to be a cracker of a game actually.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of contention around that sixth and final spot, but also in the top two teams there, as we saw with Redcliffe as well, looking for the minor premiership. Mark, do you think that'll spur the top two teams in for the last round?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a cracker, Burleigh South, because they've both got something to play for. So yeah, it's going to be it'll be interesting to see what players are being made available too from the NRL. So
is this the kind of time you see a few more players dropping back to boost up the team at all?
Yeah, sometimes. And I think Wynnum have done it in the past when, but both of the NRL boys are going well as well. So the Broncos are still in it, and so are the Titans. So with the affiliation, so I think they're all still trying to win, which is good. They're not too focused on next year. Sometimes when you can't make that 8 in the NRL, they probably start looking planning for next year and sending a couple of their bigger boys back to win the comp for the Tweed or one of their affiliated clubs. So it's interesting times. This is the best time of the season, really. Semi-finals and final time. So.
One man who's looking forward to finals time is definitely Francis this weekend as well.
Yeah, definitely. So
different feel around the club when it gets into finals time.
Yeah, we have. We've got a few more boys turning for training this week, so it's always good. We've got 2 grades in there, so the club's sort of buzzing and looking forward to Saturday night.
Excellent. Well, still ahead, we're going to be taking a look at the big winners in the Ipswich Rugby League presentation night on Friday night. We're also going to be taking a look at Benji Marshall and if he's going to be dropped from the Dragon side this weekend, and does that mean his NRL career is over? That and more coming up here on After the 80. Welcome back to After the 80 and a big night at North Ipswich Reserve on Friday. But it wasn't the field in the spotlight this time, it was the Ipswich Rugby League presentation night, where they awarded the best players and officials in the IRL and gave all the players a chance to catch up away from the field. Bommy, you were there around and about, taking some interviews on the night, so what was the feeling there?
No, obviously it gives the players a time to just have a weekend off, relax their bodies, obviously have a few beers, talk to the camaraderie in the Ipswich competition between all the clubs is pretty good there. So they all got around to the tables. We obviously awarded the best player of the year, and we had the coach of the year, volunteer of the year, and Miss IRLs and different things. So it's just a weekend to reward the players and the volunteers and the officials at all clubs on what a great season it's been. So. And
just looking at the awards list as well, there was members from all the clubs getting recognised as well. It was good to see someone from Karalee as well as Swift's got a couple of mentions in there as well. I think it was Volunteer of the Year as well, which was fantastic, and highest try scorer as well with Nathan Jones. Good to see the presentations spread across the competition as well.
Yeah, well, just because you're not in the Premier competition doesn't mean that you haven't tried as hard as the other. Obviously, some of the skill levels are not there, but you've got volunteers as well that give up their time for training and first aid officers that run out onto the field. So just because you're in an A grade to a lower grade side, everybody deserves recognition, and some of them were rewarded with obviously a trophy there, and others were rewarded with nominations. So congratulations to all.
Well, probably the biggest winner of the night was Goodna A-grade captain Ramon Philippine. He was taking out the A-grade player of the year and the People's Choice player of the year as well. And Mark, as a former talent scout as well, do you think you'd be looking at these kind of events to scout for talent? Obviously, Ramon getting a huge accolade there on the night as well. He was a big winner.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of young talent coming through the Ipswich comp and through the Queensland Cup and stuff as well. So the 16s and 18s, Cyril Connell, Mal Manil, Meninga introduction a few years ago, I had a lot to do with, and I've actually had a lot to do with Ramon down at South Logan as well. So, and I've been out and sent him out at Goodna as well to help him out a little bit. So, yeah, mate, he's turned into a really level-headed man. He's a real leader at the club, and he leads with his actions as well as his voice. So when he speaks, the boys listen, and they've got a really good group of boys down there at Goodna as well. So they're all going in the right direction, and Albie Talapau's down there as well. So they've got some really good leaders in their club, mentors as well.
Well, he's lost the big hair, but he hasn't lost any of the straightforward running, that's for sure. That's it.
Yeah, I always question big fellas out there on the wing and the centres, but anyway.
Well, he's been a big part of their success on the field this year, and it was good to see him getting the rewards as well.
Yeah, well, he was probably the standout player of the year for the AGO comp, but he also got the Battery World People's Choice, which the fans got to vote on that there, and he made a good speech there. He hasn't even got a Facebook account, so obviously he didn't get on there, but it just goes to show to him, I think he got over nearly 500 votes, so obviously that made him proud too, that the fans out there have recognised him too, so
well, it was
great honour.
Good to see him recognised on the field and off it, wasn't it? Well, from the IRL to the NRL, where the Canterbury Bulldogs prop Sam Cassiano has taken an early guilty plea for a Grade 2 dangerous contacts charge and accepted a 2-match ban following a nasty altercation with Broncos captain Corey Parker on Thursday night. Parker copped Cassiano's size 15 boot in the mouth following a tackle in the 75th minute, and the Suncorp Stadium home crowd erupted in boos as Parker's lips started to bleed. Now, Francis, do you think the punishment fits the crime in this case?
I think for an act like that, there's got to be a send-off. Even that might nullify a suspension, but referees these days are afraid to send people off. And for a kick in the head, no matter where it is, if it was him saving a try or just getting up off the ground, I think a kick in the head deserves a send-off.
Do you think sometimes they're looking at these incidences in separate lights, if it's in the light of in a try situation compared to a regular tackle like this?
Absolutely. If you go back to the shoulder charge rule, if you make contact with the head, you're going to get suspended. There's no different with a kick.
Yep.
So I think 2 weeks is enough, but I think a send-off would have been even better.
And as we take a look at the first couple of hit-ups straight after that incident, the Broncos were certainly fired up, and I don't know, guys, do you think it could have helped Brisbane fire up going into the finals like this to go through a match like that?
Talking to Freno off air about back earlier in 10 years ago, that used to be the first 10 minutes of every NRL game.
The testing out period.
Yeah, the testing out period. You come out fired up and angry. So maybe it takes a kick in the head to get them warmed up and fired up, or I don't know what it is. But they can take a learn from that. That's the intensity you need to be going into the semi-finals with. I don't believe Cassiano kicked him in the head intentionally, but the 2 weeks is a worthy cause. You can't touch the head, and the players know that. I believe he was kicking out to get Corey off him, but he hit him in the head, so now you take your punishment. So.
Unfortunately, that's the risk you take when you're lashing out with a size 15 boot.
Size 15 boot, you're going to hit something.
That's it. And Bomber, were you surprised by the reaction from the crowd as well?
Oh, well, the Brisbane crowd's a parochial crowd there, and obviously the Bulldogs are probably not the best loved team up here in Queensland, so any time that the crowd can give it to the Bulldogs fans, I'm sure they did. And obviously a kick in the head, it's not something. I know we're having a little bit of a laugh at it there, but it's obviously serious there. Could have broke his jaw or kicked him in the eye. Unfortunately, it didn't. It just split his jaw. So. 2 weeks is fine. So.
Mark, do you think there would have been so much said about the incident if we hadn't seen the blood start to come out of his mouth from that point?
Yeah, again, the punishment fits the crime type of thing. If he just kicked him in the face and got a scratch, I think they would have just played on, and then the review match committee would have got him later. But yeah, it didn't look very good with blood coming out, and Corey was rightly angry about him kicking him and running off.
There's a few death stares after that one.
It looked good for
sure.
TV, but yeah, it's not what the game needs.
Yep. Well, another player that's been in the spotlight this week is Benji Marshall. It was revealed this week that the 2010 Golden Boot Award winner has been dumped from the St George Illawarra Dragons side to take on the Parramatta Eels this Monday night. With his contract up at the end of the season, Marshall is still on the hunt for a club in 2017, but ongoing hamstring troubles are straining interest for the former West Tigers hero. Bomber, do you think Benji's going to be thrown a lifeline by an NRL club?
I'm sure some club out there will pick him up. Like he's too good a player there, and I was watching him on 360 there. He wants to play still, and he says he doesn't want to go to England there. He wants to stay in Australia there. So if he's got another year in him there, obviously for the right price, there's somebody that can pick him up. So like he's too good a player just to go away if he wants to keep playing there. I know he's a little bit hot and cold there, but if he gets into the right team with the right environment, and he'll do good still. So
yeah, I think he's got to have the right attitude. Like, I know he's coming to the end of his career. You either leave or you take your punishment. You know, play reserve grade, wait for that injury. There's a lot of Ash Taylors and all these young, good players coming through. So you've had your time. Your time is close to finishing. And then if he goes to a club just sitting there ready to wait for to get 6 or 7 NRL games, play a couple of years in reserve grade, and then exit that way. He's just got to have the right mindset for it. He can't. He's not the legend that he used to be, as in I'm the man out on the field anymore. He just needs to play his role within the club, and he's a leader. He's 100%. Everyone, all the kids love him and want to be him. So if he can just go and play that role for a couple of years at a club that needs him, it'll be great. He's a good community person as well.
Francis, do you see him taking a role in terms of coaching after this as well? Obviously, being one of the premier halfbacks in the game as well, he's got plenty of talents to pass on. Yeah,
definitely, mate. He's got a lot of talents, and as Mark said, like every kid wants to be Benji Marshall with the big
magic
step and the flick pass. He puts bums on seats. Mate, I reckon he's got a future in media. He speaks really well. He knows the game, and then he's not a lot of cliches about him when he does interviews. So I reckon he'll have a good future in media.
Is it always? It's always disappointing to see a player like this on the way out of the competition, regardless of how they do go out. We're also taking a look at. We've got Jamie Lyon at Manly as well, looking at finishing up. How does that kind of change the feeling around a club when you start to lose those players that have really kind of defined a club?
Oh, it's definitely a big hole to fill. Like you can't replace players like those guys, especially a legend like Jamie Lyon. Especially at Manly, he's one of their favourite sons.
The little fat kid that turned up.
Fat kid that turned up, played for Australia.
That's it.
And then won premiership. So you can't replace guys like him and Benji. They're irreplaceable. But as I said, some kid will come through.
That's it. Well, we've got Corey Parker for the Brisbane Broncos as well. Up next, we'll be previewing this weekend's Intrust Super Cup action as well as the IRL here on After the 80. Welcome back to After the 80, and round 25 of the Intrust Super Cup sees the ladder-leading Redcliffe Dolphins at home against the Tweed Head Seagulls, while the Ipswich Jets head to Wynnum to take on the Wynnum Manly Seagulls. Mark, what do you pick as the match of the round this week?
Yeah, I think obviously the South Logan versus Burleigh game's got a big big result on the end of it. There's a couple of local challenges between Ipswich and Wynnum over there at over at Seagulls, which is always a tough day over there in the Chook Pen. So we'll see how we go.
And Redcliffe taking on Tweed Heads. The Jets got the win over Tweed last weekend. Do you see Redcliffe putting a big score in to finish off the season? Hopefully
they want the minor premiership as well. So they're probably expecting Burleigh to beat Souths, and they're going to have to win to try and retain that. So there's a few good, interesting games this weekend.
And Francis, the Jets and Wynnum, they're both sitting on equal points. Nothing to play for in terms of finals, but a bit of pride on the line still.
Yeah, a bit of pride and a massive rivalry. Going down there and playing with a very vocal crowd, and they'll be all up for it, and they'll have a big crowd there supporting them. And the Chook Pen, they give it to the Ipswich Jets boys a lot. So
excellent. Well, the Jets like to fire up for those kind of games as well, so we'll see how that one turns out. Well, plenty of great games in the mix as well, with PNG Hunters 4th and 5th taking on Sunshine Coast Falcons as well. That's going to be a good one for you, Bomber.
Yeah. Well, obviously PNG, they had a loss last week. Probably give them a touch up there, so obviously they'll be looking for a win before the semis start. You don't want to be going into the semi-finals on a loss and then a little bit of poor form. So,
and it'd finish off the season with undefeated record at home, which would be pretty impressive for the Hunters.
Yeah, well, obviously I haven't been to PNG, but I have spoken to a few of the boys that have been over there, and it's a hard ground to win out the crowd over there. very daunting over there.
A bit like Wynnum.
I'd rather go to Wynnum than PNG, I think.
Excellent. Well, some big matches in the QRL competition this weekend. But as we head to the IRL, and the semi-finals kick off this weekend with Saturday seeing the Goodna Eagles taking on the Eastern Cobras in the Botcher Realty Colts Cup. In the Reserve Grade Cup, we've got the Cobras also up against the Swifts Bluebirds. And in the main event, Fassifern take on Swifts Bluebirds in the A Grade. Now, Francis, you're going to be there for the A-grade grand final. How are you prepping for it, mate?
We've had a good preparation, so trained last night. It was a pretty good run. We got both grades in the grand final, so we've got a few people still out training, which is good. I think, I'm not saying this because I'm playing in it, but I think the grand finalists will come out of this game. We'll take some the winner will take some momentum into next weekend. And, I really do feel that, the grand finalists will come out of this game. It'll be a tough one.
Well, you've got the momentum from the final round of the competition as well, getting that fantastic win over Goodna, which you're going to be taking some huge confidence out of that last performance. Yeah,
definitely. Our last 2 weeks have been against the two top sides. We went down by 2 points to Brothers and sort of took some momentum from that game into the game against Goodna and come up with a pretty good win against a really good side. So that gives us some confidence.
What's the plan against the Bombers? They're a big attacking side, like to move the ball around, hit it up through the middle.
Mate, that's our strength, is going through the middle. When we're successful, that's how we do it, and containing their electrifying backs. So.
Yeah, so well, it's going to be an exciting day of football down there. And the action continues on Sunday from 11:30 a.m. with Brothers taking on Norths in the Botcher Realty Cup. Goodna Eagles are up against Brothers in both the reserve grade and the A grade, with the minor premiers Goodna looking to do the business over Brothers in both competitions. And Bomber, how do you see the minor premiers continuing their form into the finals?
Well, obviously Goodna were the minor premiers A grade there, but they've fallen off a little bit towards the end of the season there. So and Brothers have been on a roll now for about 5 weeks, so they've defeated all before them there. So it's going to be a tough game there. If Goodna can get back into the grind that's got them to the position that they're in now, obviously they're going to be hard to beat. I think that's going to be probably the match of the round there. So in the A grade. So.
Mark, when you go into the finals like this, you can have the minor premiers who finish the season on the best points. But how much does the kind of the run going into the finals for a team make a difference? We've got Brothers coming in with a huge head of steam, so they're looking pretty dangerous as well.
Yeah, momentum's massive, and it's all in the positive mindset. And even with the Swifts having some really good games in the last couple of weeks, I think Francis is right if they're carrying in some really good form, and if they win that first semi, they really, they go to that next level. And it's the ones that they've lost that main final on the slide, and that's kind of how normally that third and fourth semi-final they normally go through and take the grand final. You don't want to be winning too many. Like Brothers would be worried that they've won 5 or 6 in a row, that the loss is coming soon. So they'd be wary of that. But again, on the day, it's all about momentum and then just believing in your systems and who can kind of stick to their systems long enough. And but on the weekend with the rain, I think that might, if it stays a bit wet for the game, I think that might play into the Bluebirds' hands with their forward pack. So we'll see how we go.
Hopefully slow down some of the Bombers' excitement machines out wide.
Yeah, they reckon they're fast.
Well, you've played in quite a few final series yourselves over the years, and how does it kind of feel different when you're approaching a game going into the finals?
Yeah, it just seems a much bigger occasion. The hype, there's a definite result. Like during the year, you're building 2 points to get to the semis. So you kind of, when you get to the semi-finals, it's built on the back of all that work from the season, and that's when you start amping it up and it's starting to get real. We all want to play in the semis and in the big games, and this is the pointy end of the season, and you just feel proud to even be there because there's other guys that are now in off-season mode, and you guys are still cracking on. So sometimes it's important to get the injuries out of the way earlier in the season and have all those players coming back as well. So it's a pretty interesting dynamic in the team and club environment, and to have a lot of them sides have got both teams still in the final running. So that's pretty that's a big pat on the back to the clubs, because you need troops to be able to have 2 teams going still at this time of the year.
Yep. Well, hopefully on the weekend we can see a win for the Swifts Bluebirds in the reserve grade and carry that into the A grade then, Francis. Francis.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, all those matches are happening at North Ipswich Reserve, so be sure to get down and check out your local football this weekend. Well, that's all we have time for this week. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook for more rugby league news and exclusive online content. Thanks to Mark, Francis and Bomber for joining me this week. I'm Ben Wilmott, and until next time, good night.